Yeah, hello and welcome to our third lecture on climate protection. Just one organizational point of view for the next lecture. It will take place in Hörsaal 11 in the architectural building. Christian Niederstedt will give his lecture on the 29th of November. Yeah, and today we will present the hackathon of the Vienna Climate Challenge, which took place on the 18th of September this year. I proudly present Tobias Reckling, Katharina Meissner-Schöller, and Thomas Eberhardt, and the winning team, Die Zweigstelle, the winning team of hackathon of 2023. So we'll hear first from Thomas Eberhardt from City of Vienna about Vienna's climate governance in a nutshell. Then we can have some Q&A, some questions and answers if you want to ask something about that. And then following Katharina Meissner-Schöller from the City of Vienna about the strategies of the City of Vienna, followed by Tobias Reckling about knowledge and knowledge exchange and valorization from research to innovation for society and industry. And last but not least, the winning team, Zweigstelle, pitching the presentation Pflanz Me. That's the title. So word gaming, we'll hear about that in the last presentation. So we start with Thomas Eberhardt. Welcome to our lecture series. I'll give you the presentation. Sorry, just 1 second. Okay, Thomas, the floor is yours. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks a lot for the warm welcome. I'm Thomas Eberhardt from the City of Vienna, and I'm the team lead in the Director's Office for Climate Affairs. And in the next minutes, I'd like to present something about the Vienna's climate governance and also some of the Vienna climate strategies. I will start. So I think you can see my presentation in the right form.
Yeah, perfect.
Perfect. So let's start with the Director's Office for Climate Affairs, which was founded in 2021. And we are responsible for the coordination of the strategic climate agendas in the City of Vienna, and also responsible for the coordination and the steering of the implementation of the Vienna Climate Guide. But we are also responsible, for example, raising awareness for the climate neutral, resilient, and circular city development and evaluation of standards and processes, and also the climate relevant coordination and information of all organizations. But of course, we are not responsible alone. That wouldn't be impossible. So it's more like every department is responsible in their own working area to implement the climate neutrality goals or sub-goals and measures. And we are responsible for working on the instruments and the overall processes to support them. Yeah, and what are the current projects in the Director's Office for Climate Affairs we are working on? First of all, one of our main projects is the Vienna Climate Budget and the budgeting process, the climate budgeting process, which is a huge project, a huge thing to implement and further develop. And also the Vienna Climate Council. We are coordinating the Vienna Climate Council, the Vienna Climate Law, because the Federal Ministry is not delivering the federal law, the federal climate law. And so we are working on a Vienna climate law, and also some other projects like the Climate Pioneer City, the implementation program of electromobility, the Vienna Climate Network, and the Vienna Heat Action Plan. So you say it's a bundle of projects and measures, but especially the Vienna Climate Budget and the Vienna Climate Law are our main projects we are working on. And now I'd like to present something about the main strategy. First of all, I have to say the framework strategy, or I have to present the framework strategy. That's the Smart Climate City strategy. It's the overall strategy that defines the climate neutrality of 2040. And the Vienna Climate Guide is sort of the part of the path of implementing that goal, and defines the main levers and bundles of measures. And of course, we have in the City of Vienna also a lot of sectoral strategies, concepts, and programs like phasing out of gas or the electromobility program. And that's the strategies that defines what we have to do and how we want to do that is in one main process, it's the climate budgeting process. And here you can see the thing in some more detailed. So the Smart Climate City strategy defines the long-term goals for climate protection, climate adaptation, and circular economy. The Vienna Climate Guide defines the priority levers, instruments, and the director's office is, as I said, responsible for the coordination of the implementation of the climate guide. And it's the measures to achieve the long-term climate goals. And also we have the thematic sectoral concepts, as I said, and the process is how to implement that sub-goals in the Vienna climate budget or in the budgeting process. And the main goal, or one of the main goals, is that Vienna wants to become a climate neutral city by 2040. And when we have a look at our emissions, it's mainly a really man-to-the-moon project. Let's start with the mobility sector. It's the mobility sector is responsible about for 43% of the greenhouse gas emissions, and the next big sector is the building sector, and the building sector is approximately responsible for 30% of the greenhouse gas emissions, and the mobility sector and the building sector together are responsible for about almost 3/4 of the emissions. And the remaining sectors are, for example, waste management, industry, and agriculture. But that two sectors are the main sectors we have to look at. And therefore, we have in Vienna a remaining carbon budget. It's called the Vienna carbon budget, and it's about 60 million tons that we are allowed to emit until 2040. And then our carbon budget is gone. And so we are working on the measures that helps us to reducing the greenhouse gas emissions to fulfill the goal and not to exceed the 60 million tons of CO2 emissions. And what are the most important levers and bundle of measures that we are working on in the climate protection area? It's first of all, of course, moving away from fossil fuels in the transport sector. As I said, the transport sector is responsible for 43% of the greenhouse gas emissions. So one of the main parts is to switch to electric vehicles, change the mobility behavior. Of course, it's not only the electric vehicles, it's also the public transport and the infrastructure of cycling and walking, and the combination of both, that we are able to fulfill the goal in the mobility sector. And second important lever is phasing out of gas, especially in the heat generation. So to reduce the heat consumption in buildings, switch to district heating, use the heat with electric heat pumps, for example. And the third main lever is the decarbonization of electricity and district heating generation. And now I will present some points about the climate budgeting process. We had a bindingly decision from the steering group of the climate budget that we have to work on now. The steering group is chaired by the Mayor of Vienna and includes all city councillors. And the resolution of the Vienna Climate Budget is made by the Municipal Council. And so what we did is, first of all, we had our Vienna Climate Guide that defines the main targets and bundle of measures. And in a first broad process, we ask all departments in the City of Vienna to name the main climate measures. In the second part, we made a bottom-up assessment to have a look at the greenhouse gas emissions that are able with that measures. But also we made a best case prognosis. So we looked at the main three sectors: mobility, energy, and buildings, and have a look at the sub-target of 2030, if the sub-target is also is reachable. And the good answer is yes, it is reachable, but it's quite hard to get there. And the difference between the bottom-up assessment and the best case prognosis is sort of the gap and the gap analysis. And we made some examples to stepwise implement the next measures to reduce the gap. Yeah, but that's sort of the climate protection area and the climate budgeting process of how to implement the main reduction in the main sectors of climate protection. But it's also defined in the Vienna Climate Guide. It's in German, it's the 3K, it's the 3 Cs, it's the climate adaptation, climate protection, and the circular economy. And so we also have some reachable targets to become a climate resilient city. For example, measures of health, well-being, ecosystems, natural and some urban development and planning measures, also infrastructures, services of general interests, and public space, of course, buildings and neighborhoods, also a main part when we talk about climate adaptation. And also one example in the area of climate adaptation is the Vienna Heat Action Plan. We are also responsible for the strategic coordination, not the implementation coordination. And the main goal is to reduce the heat-related health damage in the population. And the focus was on short-term and seasonal preparatory and measures on the short-term area. All right, and our and my I think last slide is some participation examples that we are also have in the City of Vienna. First of all, the Vienna Climate Tour is an awareness raising campaign on climate relevant topics and climate protection tips for every day. And the focus on these days is working with pupils and in schools. And another example is the Vienna Climate Team, citizen participation project in now 6 Viennese districts. A third example is the Vienna Climate Council. I have already shortly talked about it. In the Director's Office of Climate Affairs, we are responsible for the coordination. And the fourth example is the Vienna Climate Network. It's overall network in every department of the City of Vienna, and we can talk about the measures in that departments, for example. Yeah, I think that was all from my side. Thanks a lot for the attention, and if there is any question, I'm happy to hear it.
Yeah, thank you very much, Thomas Eberhard, for that very interesting presentation and all the goals and the path of City of Vienna. That's really interesting. So just one question from my side about you mentioned you've calculated the remaining carbon budget. You have a goal to reduce the carbon emissions. How will you track the carbon path? So over time, the next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, how do you control the pathway over time?
Yeah, that's a perfect question and also a really hard answer. That's what we are really currently working on quite hard. It's on the further development of the climate budgeting process. So we have the climate budget is in the whole budgeting process as a sort part of, but we are working on some sub goals and some, also you name it, like the I only know the German word, the Bundesländer Luftschadstoffinventur. I'm so sorry for that, but I don't know the English word. It's from the Environment Protection Agency, and this is one of our accounting methods, but it's an accounting method that is also not enough. So we are looking at if we need another accounting methods to track the yearly or every 2-year basis targets. And we are currently looking on, for example, the greenhouse gas protocol for cities and other accounting methods. But I doubt I cannot answer the question with a simple that's how we do it. And we are currently working on that. It's that we can better track it in the future. That's the honest answer.
Yeah, thank you very much. So if you have any questions in the audience, just type in the chat if you want, or in the audience, if you have a question, you can take the mic. Do you have a question? Just there is no question in the chat now. What I'm rather interested in is the phase out of gas, especially I'm from the energy efficient building department here in Innsbruck. What are the pathways doing this? So the gas boilers, how to get rid of the gas boilers? You have a lot of them in Vienna, I think, so many small boilers for heat and domestic hot water. How to change this? What's your future plans?
Yeah, that's another department is responsible for that. So if the answer is not precise enough, I have to say I'm sorry. But yeah, we have a lot of gas boilers in Vienna, about 600, and most of them are decentralized. For example, 480,000. For example, approximately 100,000 are centralized gas boilers, and this is one of the measures to centralize the decentralized buildings, and then it's easier to change the heat system, for example, to heating pumps or stuff like that. And we, if you are further interested, I can recommend phasing out of gas concept. It's reachable in the internet, and it's explaining is how we want to get rid of all the gas boilers in Vienna. We have defined some decarbonization types, so different housing types, building types, and the heat system and how we want to change it. But it's not only the heating system; it's also the cooking gas. Of course, it's also or we also want to mention that that we don't forget about cooking gas. It's also a main part in the city of Vienna, and so we have to look at the legal framework. Also here, in German it's Erneuerbaren Wärmegesetz, the renewable heat law is also not that what we are looking at in Vienna from the federal ministry. So we have to look at the legal framework in the federal municipality of Vienna. What we are able to do. It's the spatial energy planning. It's also the point of affordable housing, subsidies, and financing. That's a lot what we can do in the city of Vienna. But of course, it's one main part is the legal framework, and the legal framework is still missing. And that was the legal framework that was now published from the federal ministry is not enough for us. So that's one of the hardest questions is how to get the legal framework done. And of course, also one big or one relevant measure is to do the communication right. So all of the citizens are asking what heating system I will have in the future and where and when. And so we are really focusing on the energy planning, where the heat system will come. And one also further measure is to look at the labor market and the skilled workers that we need to change all the heating systems, phasing out of gas and into renewable energy heating systems.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. So I will put the information in our link list. If you could send me this link you mentioned on the documentation, that would be nice. Then the students can read about. That's really interesting.
Of course I will.
Use of it. That's great. Thank you very much. I think there are
Thanks.
no further questions so far in the chat and also in the audience. No question. Thank you very much, Thomas Eberhard, for coming and for the presentation. And then
thanks a lot for the invitation, and I doubt I have to say goodbye now, but because I have another meeting.
Okay,
but thanks a lot for the invitation and a good meeting as well, and an interesting meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye. Now I'll say hello to Katrin. One moment, please. Katrin Meissner-Schöller will give the next presentation. Okay. Yeah, hello, Katrin.
Hi, and welcome also from my side. Thank you very much for organizing the lecture. I would need to ask someone, Tobias or Rainer, to share my presentation. I sent it earlier.
Oh yeah, we said who wants to share your name?
You need to share my slides.
It's me. I would share.
Or Tobias. Yeah, Tobias Reckling.
Tobias. Okay, so a second. Okay.
Great. Thanks a lot. So hello again, Katharina Meissner-Schöller. I'm from the Director's Office for Science, Research and Business Location of the City of Vienna, the Chief Executive Office. Rainer mentioned earlier that I'm going to present the strategies of the City of Vienna, but it's mainly the strategies of the City of Vienna in the context of science research and partly business location. And also I wanted to explain or say a few words about why we collaborate with the University of Vienna and universities in the City of Vienna, and also in the context of this hackathon, and why we find this initiative especially important. So, as my colleague Thomas Eberhard from the City of Vienna explained earlier, there is a number of different strategies of the City of Vienna that aim at climate protection, climate adaptation, and the circular economy. So the overall strategy paper is the Smart Climate City Strategy, Vienna, and the latest guideline or policy paper in that regard is the Vienna Climate Guide. If you go one further, Tobias. The Vienna Climate Guide in particular lays out or explains the initiatives and the strategies of the City of Vienna in order to be climate neutral by 2040. And arguably, if the City of Vienna wants to reach that ambitious goal of climate neutrality by 2040, then we will require and need further knowledge, also innovation and expertise. And we from the Director's Office for Science Research and Business Location believe that there is great added value of research and universities. And in particular, we see great potential of excellent research at Viennese universities, but of course also universities and research institutes overall in Austria. In Vienna in particular, some of you might be familiar with that, there is 24 universities by now. That graph is still from 2019 when it was 23 universities. There has been a new university in Vienna since this year, and more than 120 research institutes. So Vienna is really an attractive science and research location and a vibrant location where there is a lot of expertise from different universities and especially a great range of different disciplines represented in the City of Vienna in terms of science and research. Vienna is also a vibrant location for researchers, of course, but also for students. So there is nearly 200,000 students located in Vienna studying at Viennese universities, and around 55,000, or I believe by now already 60,000 of those students are international. In order to reap more synergies from these universities and from the university location, the mayor, Michael Ludwig, in 2019 signed a cooperation agreement with the then 23 universities. And the goal of this cooperation agreement is to have a more forceful cooperation between the City of Vienna, the municipality, but also its enterprises, and the universities located in Vienna. And in particular, the City of Vienna would like to attract more expertise, more innovation from the universities and researchers and students in the municipality, and also in addressing urban challenges that we are facing. So urban challenges that we also heard about with the strategies of the City of Vienna and the goals in the context of the climate action plan, for example, and the ambitious objective of climate neutrality. We in the Director's Office for Science Research and Business Location are in charge of implementing this cooperation agreement together with other municipal departments, Municipal Department on Cultural Affairs and the one on Economic Affairs, Labor and Statistics. We are implementing this cooperation agreement and launching different initiatives and also formats in order to fill this cooperation agreement with life, so to speak. So here you see a range of different actors in the city of Vienna that are in charge and that deal with science and research and also arts in the city of Vienna. The city of Vienna places great emphasis actually on its university location and also gives research funding for researchers and universities. Part of our endeavors is also to collaborate more with students from universities and to also attract knowledge from students and their innovative potential in the city of Vienna. And partly for that reason, we from the Director's Office for Science Research and Business Location launched this platform for thesis topics that you can also browse online. The platform for thesis topics publishes thesis projects or topics from within the municipality, from within the city of Vienna, that we offer to students to deal with them in their bachelor and master thesis, but also PhD thesis. But the platform for thesis topics also works the other way around, so students can actually submit projects they are working on and propose them to the city of Vienna, for example, in case they need data from the city of Vienna, they need to do interviews with experts, they want to get in touch or want to look up certain documents, for example. So this platform is really an opportunity for students in Vienna and in Austria more broadly who would like to collaborate with the city of Vienna or also who need expertise from the city of Vienna on whatever level. And part of our efforts in order to have more contact and also more collaboration with the universities and students is also the support and the co-organization together with the University of Vienna of the Hackathon 2023, the Vienna Climate Challenge. So here we from the City of Vienna contributed challenges to this hackathon. The teams of the hackathon could then deal with during this event. And here you see the range of challenges that were submitted from the municipality, from the city of Vienna, that range from the open climate challenge, so addressing climate issues overall, to reuse in daily life, so speaking to the circular economy, but also to integrated decision-making tools for mitigation progress and for monitoring this mitigation process, and the smart climate Kretzel monitoring. So this gives you an illustration or a feeling of the challenges that we in the city of Vienna are working on in that context of climate protection and climate adaptation. These challenges came with specific mentors from the city of Vienna who were also in contact with the teams of the hackathon and who mentored them were in exchange with the students and PhD students, researchers that worked on these challenges. Yeah, and I'm very much looking forward to the presentation of Tobias Reckling from the University of Vienna, who will probably also say a few more words about the hackathon, and later on to the presentation by the winning team of the hackathon. Thank you very much for your attention. Happy to answer questions afterwards.
Yeah, thank you, Katarina. That was really, really interesting. I think also for our students, maybe they also can use this platform. Maybe it can be changed between Innsbruck and Vienna. That would be really, really great. And we also have similar kind of challenges with this innovation sprint, which will take place on 29th of November. So that's somehow similar to your hackathon. Yeah? Other problems, other topics, but similar approach. Yeah, thank you very much. We have one question in the, no, there's no question. Do you have any question? At the moment, there's no question, so I think we can proceed directly with Thomas.
Hi. Thanks. So I hope you can see my presentation.
Perfect. Thank you
Tobias.
very much. Hello, Thomas Weckling. Welcome.
Hi. Yeah. Thanks for the invitation. My name is Tobias Weckling. I'm heading the team for technology transfer, knowledge exchange, and national funding here at the University of Vienna. And the aim of my presentation is mainly to briefly explain to you why we support activities like the hackathons and other collaborations with the City of Vienna and how it fits in the overall strategy of the university. So, just a second. So, here we go. So that's a brief outline of the presentation. I will give you an overview about the strategy of University of Vienna when it comes to knowledge exchange and valorization and what it actually means, and how it fits together in the global approach, of course, of a research institution and its local activities. And then I present our focus areas, and 3 of them you're already seeing below. It's public understanding of science, entrepreneurship, and societal challenges, where the hackathon fits into. So that's a brief quotation from our development plan. So in case you're not so familiar with university strategies, there's some kind of a mission statement of university. And that's how University of Vienna understands the knowledge exchange. It basically includes all activities which support the valorization and exchange of research results, both with industry and society on the social, cultural, economic level. It's a very broad understanding of knowledge exchange and how the university can contribute to economy and society. It's not only about, let's say, technology transfer, but it includes all kinds of aspects of knowledge exchange. And this is also reflected in the University of Vienna's activities, both internationally and on the local level. So we have a long-standing collaborations with many local partners. There's a strong focus also on international student community here on the spot in Vienna. We have a joint infrastructure with other universities, for instance, a joint incubator for the Technical University of Vienna. We develop international valorization partnerships with other cities and universities. And that's why we're also here. We have long-standing relationships with the City of Vienna, and besides the hackathon, this also includes regular networking events, namely the so-called Vienna Science Talks, where we bring together researchers and senior city managers from dedicated on dedicated topics, for instance, health or environment and so on. So when it comes to the actual activities in knowledge exchange and valorization, we have basically 4 areas of activities, which is the industry. So it's basically classical technology transfer and collaboration. The area of entrepreneurship, where we support new knowledge-based startups and spin-offs. Society, where we collaborate with societal stakeholders, and public engagement, where the university actively supports public understanding of science. So for the sake of this presentation today, we will focus on these 3 areas and not so much on tech transfer, although of course it's of crucial importance also in the area of technology, of fighting the climate change and contributing to the City of Vienna's goals and reaching their climate aims, but also in terms of time we have available today and the aim of the presentation, we focus on these 3. So science skepticism is basically fighting science skepticism or addressing it by improving the public understanding of science. So the university has a lot of activities in for science communication and public engagement in order to improve public understanding of ongoing research and its contribution to the solution for societal challenges. And one particular example I want to highlight here, it's the so-called Doc for Change. So if you ever come to Vienna, you really should visit it. It's actually really a space managed by the university's Children's University. And it's a project funded by BFG and the Energie and Klimatenergiefonds and by some other partners, AK Wien and BAW AG Group. So it's an educational program dedicated to climate topics, to changing climate topics, mainly aiming at school children 8 to 15 years. Last year's topic was clean on the road, so sauber unterwegs. I don't know if clean on the road is the best translation. And the focus on mobility and energy, and the children really receive a wide variety of trainings and educations where climate education is combined with democracy education, science education, entrepreneurship education. So it's really, the aim is really to motivate children and youngsters not only to have an interest in climate topics, but also have an interest in actually science and research, which fits very well together. And since it was already mentioned, entrepreneurship education that very well fits into the second area of activity I want to present, entrepreneurship support. So the university, especially recently, dedicated quite some resources to foster entrepreneurship at the university, and mainly knowledge-based entrepreneurship. So startup and spin-off ideas based on knowledge which the students and early career researchers acquired during their studies and research at the university. So it doesn't always have to be spin-off, it also could be a startup which aims to address a certain societal challenge. So these are the overall aims of this entrepreneurship education. It's really to increase the connections also of industry and to have a positive impact on the society. And overall, it is structured at the moment in 4 different areas. Areas of biomedical and quantum innovation, that's the deep tech areas. And then we have 2, which is more open and digital entrepreneurship, which are not only deep tech, but also open for social innovation projects or social entrepreneurship and other projects. And all of these teams which are in these trainings are mentored by university experts, both internal and external, and get a lot of support from all kinds of professionals. And these entrepreneurship trainings, coming back again to the topic of the lecture today, are connected to a number of challenges we organize every year. And this year we organized the Sustainability Idea Challenge together with Environment and Climate Hub of University. And the aim was really to motivate teams or individuals to come up with possible startup ideas connected to the SDGs and sustainability overall, and pitch them to a jury, and then to further develop the ideas in one of our support programs. And these are the winning teams from this year. And you also see the Vice Rector of University there, Ronald Meyer, professor from University of Innsbruck. And these topics are not only focused on Vienna, but as you see as the second one, instituting senior citizens homes in sub-Saharan African countries, but also have an international focus. Not all of them, of course, or probably very few of them are actually developed into the direction of startups, but the first, the starting point is always an idea, and it's really our plan to support as many ideas as we can, and give students and early career researchers the room and the freedom to further nourish and develop their ideas. And some of them, you never know, some of them will be successful, and we have many people who participate in these challenges and programs will learn a lot in the process. And even if they don't start a startup at the moment, they acquire a lot of skills and knowledge to apply them for a different project maybe in the future. And this comes to the last area of activity, which is the society, contribute to society challenges. Here, it is the aim of the university to invest and support into capacity building, which is trainings for students and early career researcher, really foster knowledge exchange on the SDGs and the Sustainable Development Goals. The overall principle here is openness. So we really move on from open access to open science and open innovation and try to support an open approach and citizen science. So we're supporting participatory research projects. So together with citizens and involving them actively in research for and with society. Two activities we have in this area are basically on the training side, capacity building side. It's the annual sustainability challenge, which is organized with a number of other universities, and it's open for different students, also from different universities of Vienna. For instance, the BOKU is in there, the University of Business and Economics, and many more. And second one is, for instance, a workshop on impact and sustainability, sustainable development goals, which we organized together with NGO SDG Watch Austria. Here the aim is to give researchers and students really a bit of first introduction into these topics. And mainly also the hackathon, coming finally to it. It's one of the means we have here in this area. So the hackathon, Vienna Climate Challenge, it's already in different forms and with different, overall topics and aims, organized since 2019 and based on the Vienna Hochschulabkommen, which Katharina already mentioned. So basically on the idea that the city and the universities want to improve their collaboration. The format itself, it's basically aims at the development of digital prototypes in interdisciplinary teams, which the ideal case. Doesn't always have to be teams, also can be individuals. It lasts for 2 days, and the teams or individuals are working on the challenges Katharina just presented. The hackathon, it's supported by the City of Vienna, but also by the NGO just mentioned, SDG Watch Austria, and partly financially supported by the Austria Wirtschaftsservice, the AWS. During the hackathon, the teams are supported by experts from the city, for instance, but also by experts on digital prototyping, on innovation, entrepreneurship, and on funding. So we involve funding experts in order to support the teams to further developing their ideas also after the hackathon. After these 2 days, the teams pitch against each other, and the winning teams receives an award. And there's another award for an all-female team, which will present their project during the digital days of the City of Vienna. Furthermore, we are aiming it, and that's the complicated part, to really follow up on the winning teams, and that's mainly what Katharina does, and the City of Vienna try to connect them with city managers in order to actually really make their ideas happen and put their prototypes into the tests with reality and work together with experts of the city and try to make the best out of these projects. And here you already see the picture of the winners of the Hackathon 2023, Zweigstelle, and I'm looking forward to the presentation, which will start right now, I guess, right after mine. So thank you very much, and I just stop my presentation.
Yeah, thank you very much, Tobias Reckling from this bunch of activities and solutions are really interesting. So maybe could you give some example of a citizen science project? What type of projects are done in this field? We also have here in Innsbruck, but maybe you could give some example.
I would have to think about a project which is dedicated to climate change, but there are a lot of projects in the environmental sector and life sciences in general. But I would have to. We are supporting the projects, but I don't have an overview about all of them. But I really can recommend to all the participants the website Österreich forscht. It's the Austrian Citizen Science Network. It's coordinated by the BOKU University in Vienna, and which is basically a network for all citizen science projects in Austria. And if you should have a time and energy, next year in spring, there will be the European Citizen Science Conference here in Vienna at the Natural History Museum. But now, by talking, I remembered a few projects. For instance, there are a lot of projects on biodiversity. Here in Vienna, there's a project on biodiversity on the graveyards here in Vienna. So, graveyards are a very quiet place. And so it's very attractive, especially large graveyards, to different animals. So we're tracking biodiversity and the role of graveyards for biodiversity in Vienna and so on. But really check out the website of Österreich forscht. I put it in the chat in a minute.
Yeah, thank you. Then the students can check the link. I'll put it also in the link list. That would be great. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah. So now finally we come to the winning team, I think so. Thank you for the link. Great. Yeah, to whom I'll give the
to me, please. Alexander.
Okay. You are the moderator now. Okay, welcome, Alexander Hecke, representing the winning team Zweigstelle. Yeah, you have to unmute the mic and then we can just start.
So I'm going to start with the presentation. So we are really honored to present you our pitch, which we prepared for the hackathon in September this year. And we developed an app which is called Plants Me. And we were doing that with the hackathon, and you were already introduced for the challenge we faced. But now I give you one challenge which is even harder, because it's pretty cold outside now. But imagine a day in the summer where it's really, really hot outside. You already wear your shortest shirt and shorts, and you're sweating, and it's really, really hot outside. And then you have to go to university because you have a seminar and you have to go there. Which way would you take? Would you go like in the middle of the sun, or would you rather take the way underneath a nice tree where maybe there is a nice breeze? I'm pretty sure you would take the way underneath the trees. And so we are living in Vienna. It's the most livable city in the world. But we still have some challenges which we have to face. Alexander, can you go to the next slide? Thanks. And it's getting even tougher actually, because it's already hot outside and it's getting hotter, and it's a climate journey we didn't pack for. It's getting 2 degrees. It's already got 2 degrees hotter. The annual average temperature since the 1970s, and it's getting hotter every year. So we have a big problem there. Could you again? Thanks, Alexander. So which problems do we have? Not only that we are sweating if we want to go to university, and we also have the problem of heat islands. So it's not distributed in Vienna. It's not distributed the same amount in the whole city, as we can see here. In some places in Vienna, it's hotter, and therefore people who are more vulnerable to heat, they also they face more problems city because it's getting hotter there. We also have heavy rain and drought periods, and we could, because the sealed surfaces, they don't retain the water. So we have flooding, and on the other side we have in the dry periods when there is no rain at all, we're facing a drought. And additionally to that, if we want to change that, if there is any change in the city, we have public resistance. For every change, there is resistance. So we also have that as a problem. Alexander, could you? Thanks. So we try to find a solution for that, and we will now present you one solution for facing those three problems, which means that we're modeling the future. We're trying to build a cadastre map. How could we green the city easily? But we will explain that later on. How could we improve the citizen participation through gamification, the whole process? And how could we, because we already heard a lot about the strategies we have for the city and for Europe in a whole, how could we implement those strategies and bring us closer to the goals we want to achieve, like the SDGs, for example? So we want to make the city greener and targeting all those problems we were talking about. So where should we dig first? Let's dig deep, but where? And now we will explain it further, what we exactly developed and how we would green the city. So Hannes is following up.
Our idea is, maybe we can go back, our idea was to give a whole project with three parts of it. This product is, one part is to give a map where we can show the, can we see them slides, please?
Sorry, to whom, who has the slides, please?
Alex.
I think you Alexander, okay. as we discussed, should have the host rights.
1 second, I'll give him the rights again. Sorry for that. Okay, now it's okay. Thank you. Sorry for that.
Sorry. Okay, yeah, we see these three parts of our product. The idea is to give make a map where we can mention the potential and also that you know the cost about greening, because greening is very expensive, and bring this directly to the people, and also have a map or an app where the people can participate and also give the ideas where they want have greening. And third thing is that we want to use this data, we collect this data where the people are more acceptable to greening or more interested to greening or have the ideas, and make the modeling with that where we can start with greening and optimizing the whole process. And for the hackathon, we started with the app, and Alex will show us an example how this works, because the people can see where greening is possible and how it can look like. So Alexander, you can further on it, please. Thank you.
Okay. So we built this prototype here during the hackathon. I will not go into detail what types of technologies we used, because I don't know what the background of you guys is. What I will say is we just picked technologies that we were familiar with, because you have a lot of time pressure. So obviously the software is not perfect. But here you can see some markers on the map already, which might have high, middle, or low tree potential, or there are some trees that are already set. So if I click on one of the trees now, I can see it's tree number 6, and we can here get an idea of how this would look like if the tree was actually planted. And then if I feel like, oh yes, this looks quite good, I can even vote for the tree, and this vote will be registered in our system. And one step further is to donate some amount to the tree, which may accelerate the planting process for that particular tree. Yeah, so much for my part. I guess I'll hand it over to you.
Yes, thank you. So we are facing a lot of goals from the SDG, but also from the Climate Action Plan in Vienna. But I'm pretty sure there are more plans for the climate in each city, like in each city of Austria or whole Europe. So we showed how much how many goals we are kind of trying to dig, and yes, what we can reach with our strategy and where with our product and our idea. So next slide, please. We also developed a business model because it's kind of expensive, like to plant the trees, but also like to develop the project further. So we are planning to do the Zweigstelle team, we are planning to do the whole management. Our customers will be the city of Vienna or other cities, depending where we are trying to develop our products, but we are also kind of facing citizens and companies for sponsorships. We're trying to offer support for the whole planting, greening, spot finding process. And we're trying to generate some revenue so that it's all possible. For that, next slide, please. We will capture some value. For example, we are trying to sell some trees to kind of sponsors that companies can say, okay, we want to sponsor a tree. For that, you can, for example, have a small plate on the tree where the company's name is on. And that's also kind of our plan. Also, we could develop some merchandise and sell it to citizens, like make a big concept out of it, like a big brand. But our main goal is kind of to find these right places and help the cities and all people that are living in the cities to get a greener city and just to get a better life out of it. Thank you.
Yeah, and finishing now. So the next step would be we will meet the City of Vienna and talk about our idea, and also to improve our prototype of the app you have seen. And yeah, now we can to the end, maybe the last slide we can see. We want to give you also an idea how it can look like. This is an AKI built picture when we said we want a big tree in front of the Stephansdom. So it's not really the Stephansdom, but the key. Maybe think about that. But this should be give you an idea and think the visions how it can look like. You have to think in more dimensions. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. That was a really nice picture at the end. So that's remind me on this Vienna blooming, you know, about this artificial intelligent pictures created how to make Vienna more green. You know this Vienna blooming, you know?
Yes, we know them. We try to contact them because we can combine our map with their dire K pictures. We also works on that, but it was not possible at the moment. We had to have contact with them.
Okay, yeah, but that's great. Yeah, yeah, I think it's a really, really useful tool, not only for Vienna, but also for other cities. We have the same problem here in Innsbruck already. Yeah, in summertime, overheating problems, water problems, and so on. Yeah, it could be a really nice interchange also to other cities in Austria, but also Germany, I think so. Thank you very much. Yeah. Any questions in the audience? Just type the questions in the chat. There was a question. I have no audio, but it's okay now. Katharina, it's okay. Or you still have problems? No, it's okay. Yeah. So no questions. Do you have any questions that in the audience? Maybe some questions on the realization phase now. How will you proceed now? How yeah, what kind of follow-up work will be done now?
Yeah, the next step is that we meet with Katharina and some experts of the city in December, and then we talked about what maybe next steps are. At the moment, also there's the sustainability challenge of the universities in Vienna, and I also worked on this idea with there. So yeah, we will see what happens next. But maybe the next nicest and easiest step would be involved with blooming Vienna and make a map of their dire pictures to give the people visions about how it can look like.
Mm-hmm. Do you have problems with data exchange? You need a lot of data from the municipality. So what type of infrastructure is underground?
Yeah.
What are the local data? Is it easy to make interchange with the municipality, or do you have difficulties there?
Yeah, this would be a big challenge because this is also long talked about, that there should be a plan. Also, for other things, you need to plan about the underground of the city. I know that the city is working on that, but yeah, we need. Yeah, I think we have to combine different kind of maps and plans, and maybe also use some vehicle. And there are vehicles have radar, so grounded radar on it. So maybe there's a lot of things to do to make that. Yeah, this is. But there are also people, I think, working on this potential catastrophe. We try to get in contact with the city.
Yeah, I think that's always the same problem, to harmonize the databases and the interchange.
Yeah.
We have the same problem here in Tyrol. One kind of solution, maybe this kind of data hub, you know, it's kind of contracting with data holders of databases. They make a contract on how to use and interchange the data, and then have a uniform format, more or less, and to facilitate it to interchange the data. Maybe that's a kind of solution. Yeah. So there are no further questions.
May I just add to that what was
there's a
just
question.
discussed?
Yeah,
I mean,
Katharina.
because that will be exactly one of the issues that we will discuss in the December meeting. So you will ask about follow-ups next a next step for the City of Vienna, at least in contact with the hackathon team, is this meeting in December, and there they will get in touch and exchange and pitch their project also in front of experts from the City of Vienna who work on data governance on the side of the City of Vienna, and there is also an own municipal department that works on measurement and the digital twin of the City of Vienna. So that will be an opportunity also for the team to exchange and to actually also get feedback on their project, what are potential limitations and what of these parts can be realized and what kind of data they would actually need in order to build this tree potential cataster.
Wow, yeah, that's really interesting. So you are planning or working on a digital twin for the whole city. Did I understand right in this?
The City of Vienna, that is one of the goals of the City of Vienna. But I'm not an expert on the digital twin, so I can't judge. But there is an own municipal department that works on measurement of infrastructure of the city plans, and also partly buildings and all of these different aspects. So, and there is an expert will also participate in that meeting. So I think that will be a good opportunity for the team to exchange and then also actually to understand what are already the plans of the City of Vienna and how could the tree potential cataster fit into these strategies and goals. And then also, of course, there is the open government data. I believe that also the other Länder, so the other areas of Austria contribute to that open government data. So there's actually a lot of data already available in this open government data by the City of Vienna on infrastructure, on streets, city plans that are open access available that can be browsed.
Yeah, that's really cool. Also, the monitoring data for energy consumption or whatever, that could be all included there, and that's open for all the public and to see what's going on at the moment and how to act in future. That's really useful. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Any other questions or comments so far? Doesn't seem so. Yeah, if not, I would say thank you very much to all of the presenters. Thank you very much to the audience. And yeah, I hope we will keep in contact. There are such a lot of collaboration possibilities for the future. And also for the other universities in the Aurora Alliance, maybe they got some new ideas how to collaborate with their municipalities, but even maybe with others, maybe with Vienna. We have learned a lot about that today. So Katharina and all the others, thank you very much. And yeah, hope to see you in the next lesson. Thank you very much and goodbye.
Thanks for the invitation. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ciao,
Bye-bye.
ciao.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you.